Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk on COVID-19 vaccine update. And the main question here is, can we are going to get this vaccine this year or not? So there are a lot of work is going on this particular aspect, but how we are going to succeed here in this year or next year we'll see now based on the literature available. So the facts on spread of COVID-19 in India is the COVID-19 virus took hold slowly in India. 6 months after its confirmed infection, it has overtaken Russia to record the world's largest case load. The first one would be US and second one would be Brazil. And why hurry for COVID-19 vaccine? Uh, this is very important questions to put ourselves because they are also life-saving like any other drugs used in treatment of certain cases. In this devastating COVID-19 pandemic, everyone is hoping for an effective vaccine, and everyone is again expecting somehow be quickly made available and the vaccine to be administered to people to save from these infections. Why vaccine availability is late process when compared to the drugs? See, in drug industry, the drug trials side effects can be accepted because the patient is already sick. So we can give a certain drug and we will see whether it's working or not. If at all some side effects are there, most of the times we expect the side effects. So we won't much worry about those side effects. But in case of vaccines, we always have to include the healthy people, and this vaccine has to be administered to millions of people from all the ages, genders, classes, and socio-economic state to know the vaccine's efficacy and also its safety. And in this process, even a small adverse effect is also unacceptable. We all know that there are so many vaccine-induced diseases have been identified, especially in case of polio and so on and so forth. There are so many other vaccines are responsible for such a diseases during its process. Yeah, this is very good quotation when the morning, when I have gone through the various literature, types of literature on the net, I identified the very good quotation quote by the Executive Director of the World Health Organization's Health Emergencies Program by Dr. Mike Ryan. The most important quote while preparing or producing the vaccine for the commercial use is, there is only one thing more dangerous than a bad virus, and that's a bad vaccine. That means rather than the COVID-19 vaccine, it's if you prepare a bad vaccine for the human use, that may holds very bad for the health care of the world population. And what is the complexity in vaccine preparation? So the first step in vaccine preparation is the vaccine candidate has to be produced. That means from which we are going to prepare the vaccine, that particular thing has to be produced. It may be a virus or its product. And in preclinical phase, this particular vaccine candidate will be tested on experimental animals to see the safety and efficacy. The safety in the sense there should not be any toxic effects should produced among the experimental animals. And efficacy is concerned with the what kind of antibodies are produced and when they are produced, followed by the vaccination to be considered in preclinical phase. In the clinical trials, this always will be done and in the third level, like after getting approval from the Drugs Controller General of India, that is DGCI. Without getting the permission from the DCGI, we can't go further for the clinical trials on human beings. And for the commercial use, once the efficacy and the safety is proved even in human clinical trials or clinical trials, then we have to go for the commercial use after production by getting the permission from Central Drug Standard Control Organization in India. In European countries that is different. In US that would be FDA approval is required. And currently, what is the state of this vaccine production? A dozen COVID-19 vaccine globally are being tested, but vaccine has yet been approved for commercial use because a lot of work was done, but in various levels the people failed, and still we are waiting for the vaccine to available commercially for the population. And what is the progress in India as far as this vaccine is concerned? In India, this nearly 7 Indian firms are working to produce the COVID-19 vaccine. Among them, so far, 2 companies have been successfully produced and they are in clinical trials. One among them is Bharat Biotech International Limited from Hyderabad and Jadis Cadila Pharma Company from Ahmedabad in our country developed 2 vaccines in collaboration with the ICMR and National Institute of Virology, Pune, and completed the preclinical trials. And 11 strains of SARS-CoV virus 2, that is COVID-19, that causes for COVID-19 infection were isolated by the ICMR and NIV and transferred to BBL, that is Bharat Biotech International Limited, in the month of May for further progression in producing the vaccine for human use. And where we are now in this journey, and these people in the preclinical trials like Zydus Cadila and BBL, that's Bharat Biotech International Limited, people done experiments on the experimental animals like rabbits, cats and other animals, and they proved that there is a strong immune response against that particular vaccine. In India's COVID-19 vaccines, if you see this, as I mentioned already, Bharat Biotech International Limited and Jadis Cadila prepared individually, like Covaxin from the BBL, which is inactivated vaccine, and Zydus Cadila prepared ZyCoV-D, which is DNA vaccine, that is recombinant DNA vaccine. And these 2 are approved by the Drugs Controller General of India for human trials in the month of July 2020. And what is the commitment by Government of India to release this vaccine as early as possible for the human use? The ICMR fast tracking the efforts to make it to launch for human use in the month of August 2020. That means as early as possible, this ICMR is trying to make use of this vaccine for the human vaccination purpose. So for that purpose, 12 institutes across the country have been selected by MCR for clinical trials to start in July 2020. I hope it would be from July 7th onwards, the trial have been started. And can now in this, with this context, can we expect COVID-19 vaccine in this year? So if you see the experts' view in so many interviews and also as far as the articles available, it can't be expected before early next year, which was stated by an apex officials from CSIR CCMB. And it may take minimum 6 to 8 months from now to have a safe vaccine. These are the statements made by the core officials or apex officials from the prestigious institutes who are working on molecular biology. And why that much time is required, why the experts are talking like this on this particular aspect. And if you see the statements made by the 2 important people, and first one is we have to test large number of individuals to know their efficacy and safety followed by the vaccination to produce the concerned antibodies. And Dr. Rakesh Mishra, CSI or CCMB director, he told that to an interview, he told that it's not like a drug that if someone is sick, you give and see if it is cured or not. That means if you give a drug to the person who is sick, the drug may say whether it's working or not with little side effects. But here, in this case of vaccines, and it's not like that, any kind of vaccine has to be given for the healthy people where the immune system is intact and where the immunological immune system is functional. If it is not that, the purpose will not be served while giving the vaccine for the clinical trials. So if you give the vaccine for any kind of people come across to you, it may not give the proper data to spread to the people to know about, to tell about the efficacy of these vaccines. So fast tracking a vaccine in 4 weeks for safety, immunogenicity and efficacy is just not possible. This statement was made by Shahid Jamil, who is virologist and CEO of Wellcome Trust DBT in India. And to conclude, the expectation for a safe and effective vaccine to be available by the end of 2020 is based on hope and optimism, and we hope for the best, and we will expect the same type of vaccine as early, safe vaccine as early as possible. But here, while we are doing the clinical trials, one thing we have to remember always, we have to test a large number of people, and which belongs to different categories, and their immunological status also may be different. So unless we prepare, we test in many number of people, as many as possible, unless you do the clinical trials, it's very difficult to produce the valuable and reliable data on the efficacy and safety of this particular vaccine. That's why it may take some more time. If within this 1 month time, if the companies are able to do the clinical trials, as many as possible number of healthy individuals, then the data has to be produced, and the data, after analyzing the data, it may be possible either in the month of August or just beyond, and after 1 month after August. But if this, of course, it may be hope, optimistically we have to think about it. And this is about the few things which I would like to share with you about the level of vaccine preparation and availability of the vaccine in near future in our country. Anyhow, it's congratulations to all the companies who are working on this particular aspect to prepare the vaccine and to release it commercially to be available for the world population. Thank you very much, and thank you for all the healthcare heroes in this particular regard. Thank you very much.